It's me, Vicky Marie, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Now, this is who we're going to be talking about today. Bless her, Sophie Wang. Now, when I say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world's gone mad. The world has gone mad. Last night in the members, we were talking about, is there a mental health crisis in the UK? I think there's just a mental health crisis all over the world. It's just everywhere you look. Now, I know nowadays we can, of course, get to hear about everything. I mean, years ago, I think it was better, wasn't it, when we only knew what was happening in our own locality. Now we get to hear, of course, about things happening all over our country, all over our city, all over our country, all over the world. Hey, look, there's a dog there. She's just having a little, she likes to do a little bit of photobombing, does little Tia, don't you? Like to do a bit of photobombing, bless her. She's photobombing me again. But yeah, so now, of course, we get to hear of everything all over the world that's going on. And it's scary. And what is it with mental health? So it doesn't seem to age, age, sex. We've looked at quite a few cases recently in the UK of stabbings, of the little girls, and lots of different stabbings. And they've mainly been by men. But now, today, we're going to look at this poor little girl, Sophie, who not only, was murdered, which is bad enough, of course, but by her own mother. Her own mother has been arrested for this brutal murder. And I think this is going to come down to mental health issues, which I'll explain to you in a minute when we go through sort of what happened. But what sort of mental health issues, can lead you to... Now, trigger warning here, this little girl, her throat was slit by her own mother. You just can't most of these crimes that we look at, can't wrap your head around. But this, obviously it seems even worse, by a person who she trusted, her mother, her caregiver. There's going to be definitely a mental health card played here, but what can possibly be so bad as to make you do something like that to your daughter? Anyway, first of all, I just want to say my thanks. Thank you to those of you who watch my channel, those of you like, those of you subscribe. We go through some difficult subjects sometimes, don't we? So thank you for that, because it helps me to deal with these subjects as well, having you all to talk to about them. Thanks to those of you who are members. Please consider becoming a member if you're not a member already. Liking and subscribing is completely free, and that's a great way you can support my channel. If you want to go that little bit further and join in 2 special members lives every week. Last night we talked about mental illness, particularly in the UK more, and we also talked about Patrick Stevenson, how he's coping in prison. But every Tuesday and Thursday we have a members live. Also, I want to say thank you for people who've bought me a Ko-fi, sent me a super sticker, or PayPal'd me, emailed me, sent me a nice message, or any way you've supported my channel. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about this story. So geography-wise, I'm going to say hello in a moment. First of all, I just want to give the background to the story. So geography-wise, we're in Australia. We're going back to Brisbane. Now, funny enough, most of the cases that we've done from Australia before were, of course, in the Victoria area, because we sort of, started off doing cases, if you like, Australian cases, gained a lot of subscribers in Australia, and so I try and do cases from the 3 main areas that my subscribers come from, and that is the UK, America, and Australia. So I try and do cases from all those areas. you know, that people will find interesting wherever they're from in those three main core areas where my subscribers are. I mean, I do have subscribers in other areas. And if you're a member, of course, of the Carry On Chatting, you can always suggest a case for me to cover. So if there's a case in your area and you're not in one of those three, please let me know. If you're a Carry On Chatting member, you can choose cases that I talk about. But anyway, so we're going back to the Gold Coast, and we were here at the Gold Coast when we were doing the story of Alison Baden-Clay. I recently did a video about Alison Baden-Clay, who was murdered by her husband, who is a relative of Baden-Powell, the guy who founded the Scouts. And that was this area. That was this area, the Gold Coast. I mean, it's a fabulous name, that, isn't it? Look at the names here: Surfers Paradise, the Gold Coast, etc. Nice names. But we're going to Carrara. That's where this happened. I don't know anything about the area. Maybe some people are in the chat will know the area. Is it a nice area? I think it is probably quite a nice area, because Sophie's dad, mum and dad, I think they were quite, you know, I don't think they were poor, let's put it that way. So it's near Emerald Lakes. That's where we're going to, the Emerald Lakes area in Carrera, which, as far as I can see from the videos I've watched so far, is a well-to-do, you know, middle-class area just near the Gold Coast. So that's where this tragedy, am I showing that? Yeah, that's where this tragedy takes place. And this is the little girl at the centre of it all, up in the corner there. Okay, let me just say hello to you all. Hey Chumba, hi Ninja. Yes, it is the girl from the Gold Coast. Hi Kelly. The world's gone mad, Chumba. I don't think it's just, I'm going to show you a case in Spain that's just happened. Because as soon as you start looking into these things, you realise it's everywhere. It's crazy. Hi Teresa. Hey Kelly. Hi Heather. Hi David. Did I say hello to Teresa? I think I did. Hi Quizzical. Yeah. So yeah, that's where it is exactly. Just inland from the Gold Coast. Emerald something it was called, wasn't it? Let's have a look. Emerald Lakes. So it's about an hour from Brisbane, apparently, in a car. So that's where we are. That's the area that we're looking at. Now, before I start telling you this, as I say, trigger warning, because this is very, very sad. You know, it just seems like it's all children lately. What's going on? What have people got against children? You know, this is this poor girl. It's her own mother. But, you know, those cases that we've covered in the UK, children. So it just all seems to be, you know, it just seems even worse, doesn't it? And then as I was sort of preparing for this, I found a Spanish case that happened yesterday. So this is not a child though, but the only reason I want to show this, because again, mental health, these mental health issues, there have been lots of incidences lately in Spain as well. But I just saw this, and because this was literally yesterday, this is a story released by the Policía Nacional. So they're the sort of most serious branch of the police forces in Spain. And this was a poor guy, well, two guys who were in a psychiatric ward, and one of the patients has killed the other patient. They were sharing a room, you know, sharing a ward. So so basically what this article is saying, that a patient in a psychiatric unit has murdered another patient who was in the same room as him. And the victim was found by the clinic staff, and he was in treatment for mental illness. And this is in Malaga, in Spain, in Malaga, which is, let's have a look for those of you who maybe don't know Spain very well, because Spain is a very big place. So here we are, Malaga, which is quite far south, just before, a lot of you have probably heard of Marbella, Gibraltar, etc. If you carry on round here, you come to Cadiz, and then you get Seville, and you actually end up in Portugal. You can drive all the way to Portugal, up here, cross the border into Portugal. So Malaga is sort of just before Gibraltar. Further on from a place that probably a lot of you know will be Alicante, because people know Alicante because of Benidorm. So, you know, it's a very tourist area. Alicante, probably a lot of you will know, but much nicer places in Spain. Well, if you're looking for a Spanish experience instead of a British experience, you're better off coming as soon as you get past Elche. Really, it gets as soon as you get past to Murcia, all gets a lot more Spanish, a more Spanish experience, if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for just Britain in the sun, then you want to go to Alicante and Benidorm especially. But if you want a nicer, well, what I would say is a nicer Spanish experience, you go to Murcia and beyond, and you would eventually come to Malaga. And it's not that, you know, it's the motorway connections are brilliant in Spain. Traveling is easy in Spain. Driving is easy. You may even be able to get trains around. You know, it's very well connected, Spain, in the big cities. So that's where we're going to. Let me go back to the other one now. I've forgotten where I was now. So Malaga is where this has happened, and this apparently happened on the 12th of August, around about 20 to 11, according to so when the patient of 24, so again a young guy, 24. Why have all these young people got all these mental health issues? Was he smoke? You know, I tell you what, I blame drugs for a lot of it. I don't care what anyone says, and the internet. And, you know, people just sitting in there. A lot of young people now, all they do is just sit in their rooms, smoke marijuana and play on PlayStation games. That can't be very good for your mental health, can it? Anyway, so supposedly or allegedly, he's attacked the other patient who was in the same room, who was 65 years old. And he was found dead with signs of asphyxiation in the interior of the room that they both shared. So there you go. You know, there's another. So every time I go on the news, there's another case, and that'll be a mental illness case. You know, obviously nobody who does that is right in the head, are they? You know, and obviously he was in a psychiatric ward anyway, so he obviously had some issues. But what's going to be done about this? You know, what is going to be done about this? Then, if we go over to this particular case in Australia, let me just put a couple of those other windows down so I don't get confused. Where am I? Got to find. I've got too many windows open, and I've put some of them down, but where's that one gone? There it is. So yeah, this mother she's a TikToker, and she was posting TikTok videos in Chinese of like about Jesus and God and this, that, and the other. You know, so she's obviously, and then later that day, she's been posting those videos for a while, and then she's gone off and murdered her own daughter, allegedly. So what is this? It's obviously some sort of mental health episode. Let's just watch the video. Outside, so I thought they were going to be talking. I thought there'd be a reporter talking, but I've got some other videos where there's a reporter talking, but obviously not in this one. God. Oh,
emergency services immediately came down here. There are a lot in the area because of Schoolies Week.
Come on.
Emergency services immediately came down here. There are a lot in the area because of Schoolies Week. Paramedics started performing CPR on this little girl, but very sadly, she couldn't be saved. And a major investigation is now underway. A crime scene was set up.
So what happened was the father came home
need to be answered
to find this scene.
I know there's an investigation going in.
So the little girl was called Sophie Wang. She was 11. She was found dead in her Gold Coast home. And hours after her death, apparently her father has helped police piece together what allegedly happened. So detectives are today investigating religious TikToks that a mother accused of slashing her daughter's throat posted the same day she allegedly killed her. Ying Zhu, 46, allegedly murdered her daughter Sophie Wang, 10. Oh, they said she was 11 before. Anyway, 10 or 11, at their Emerald Lakes home in Carrara on the Gold Coast on Tuesday. And Sophie's father, Wang-Why, who's a science professor at Griffith University. So this is it. The thing is about mental illness, it affects everyone. So we've seen a couple of cases in the UK. There were people who were homeless. It can affect people who are, he's a science professor at Griffith University. You would imagine that his wife has got probably a similar standard of education or whatever. You know, they're not a poor family by the sound of it. This is the thing about mental illness as well, is it touches everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what money you've got. It doesn't matter how well you try and treat your children. You just, mental illness. It's like a bomb waiting to explode everywhere, in the home, on the streets. You know, it's not, I don't think it's valued enough, or, you know, because obviously if you have a broken leg, you know, so anyone can see you have a broken leg. And they're going to go, oh, how did you do that? Oh, what happened? You broke your leg, you put it in plaster, a couple of months later, you're fine. Mental illness, nobody can see when someone's got mental illness, but people, you know, a lot of people bleat on about mental illness. Oh, you got to feel sorry for people with mental illness, but when it comes to actually dealing with someone with mental illness, they don't have any sympathy for them whatsoever. You know, and the thing is, if your loved one had cancer or a broken leg or a broken limb or an illness, they would get all the care that they needed. But if they've got a mental illness, they don't. But mental illness kills just as much as cancer kills, or any serious illness. In fact, maybe more. And it's dangerous, not only to the person themselves who've got the mental illness, but it's dangerous to everyone around them. And as we've seen, even people who are not around them. It's dangerous to people just walking down the street, going shopping. It's dangerous to little girls who are just going to a dance club, you know, to have a good day. It's dangerous to everyone. So it's priority. It's more dangerous than cancer. If someone's got cancer, you know, that is terrible for them, and they're going to suffer, and that, you know, they may die if they don't get the proper treatment. But they're not going to kill anybody else because they've got cancer. Do you see what I'm trying to say? But mental illness just seems to get like as if it doesn't matter, as if it, you know, and I literally do know this from experience. Trying to get help and trying, even your own sort of friends, your own family, they don't understand. They're not very helpful because they don't understand, unless they've been through it themselves, what you're actually going through trying to get help for your loved one. So he arrived home apparently to find his daughter and called 000, but despite the best efforts of paramedics, she could not be saved. And then Zhu, the mother, she was arrested more than 4 hours later at 10:25 p.m. in a nearby street, and she's now been charged with murder. So apparently earlier on the Tuesday, Zhu had posted 3 videos on TikTok showing her muttering in Chinese about religion. Now, I was looking for these videos. I can't find them. They've probably been taken off now. But, oh my God, what did it? I don't really go on TikTok much. I've got a TikTok account. I put some clips up there from some of my videos just to put something up there. I've got about 70 followers on TikTok. I'd like to have more. But it's only just, they're just short clips. It's only because TikTok, a lot of people love TikTok and they do it. So, you know, people have asked me about TikTok. But, you know, I'm not a big TikTok user. I don't really watch anybody else's videos unless they come up in another format. Sometimes on Facebook or Twitter, a TikTok video will come up. So I'll go and have a look at it if it's something of interest, normally to a case or whatever. But I wouldn't describe myself as a TikToker. But when I was on looking for her, this is the mother looking for a video. Oh my God, what is wrong? People on there, it's like, do you think the whole world is on there? And they're just like, it's very strange. They're not really saying anything. They're not really, you know, maybe one day in a video we'll have a look at some strange TikTok accounts. I don't know if I really want to. But anyway, so this lady, Sophie's mum, who's I think 42, you know, people normally generally think of TikTok as a young person's thing, isn't it? But it isn't. You know, there's all different ages on there. 46. So what was she doing on TikTok? Talking in Chinese about religion. Anyway, so apparently in the clips, Zhu talks about Christianity and how the Trinity is the only true God and Jesus is the incarnate Son of Man. Well, you know, a lot of Christians believe that, and probably a lot of Christians would go and say things like that. But of course, then they wouldn't go and murder their daughter. So the videos will form part of the investigation into the case, which seasoned detectives have described as one of the most confronting they've ever seen. So first of all, imagine that father coming home to find his daughter like that. Then imagine the first responders and what they had to, you know, same with the Southport stabbings, to have to go and face a scene where a child has been murdered must be the most difficult thing to get over afterwards. Anyway, so the Year 5 student's death has rocked the tight-knit local community, including her school, Emmanuel College, which is located just 600 meters from her home. Now, you know, it's always bad, obviously, when somebody murders somebody, but we always think it's worse when it's a woman, and even worse when it's the mother, isn't it? It's like a double deviance. You know, deviance is when you do something, you know, that you shouldn't do, society, you know, that society condemns, like attacking somebody else or murdering somebody. And double deviance is when it's done by somebody like a caregiver of any kind. First of all, a woman. Always seems to be worse when it's a woman. It seems to be worse when it's someone in a position of responsibility, like a mother or a carer or a father. You know, these are all sort of doubles up on the deviant behavior, doesn't it? It's bad enough to kill a stranger, but if you know them, and especially if you're the person who's really responsible for their welfare, it's about the worst thing, isn't it? We're going to look in a minute at some studies that are saying about why women, mothers in particular, do that, what the main reasons are that mothers do it. So this woman, she's not just had Sophie, so it can't be like postpartum depression, because that's quite common, isn't it? You know, quite often women get depressed after giving birth, and that can be a dangerous thing for a baby. But obviously Sophie's that bit older, so what has happened, or you know, what was this woman's mental state that she felt she had to do that? And here she is, the little one. So gosh, how many children's little faces have we seen staring out at us lately? That's the scene. So Amanda, who lives across the street from the Zhu Wang home, describes Sophie as a really friendly little girl. She was in the same class as my grandson. They were in the orchestra together. My grandson played the violin and she played the piano and the recorder. I could always hear her play music from the street. She was always walking to school and back. She was really friendly and would say hi. A really friendly little girl. And Amanda, who's lived in the area for 12 years, said she didn't notice anything unusual until police officers swarmed the street around 6. And it wasn't until the incident hit the news later that evening that she learned about what had happened. I didn't know the husband, but I saw the wife walking in and out, Amanda said. She was very into herself. When you walked past her, she didn't say hello or anything. The whole community is in shock today. So this again, this is the father, bless him. Again, one of those places where people will say, oh, nothing like that ever happens here. It's always them kind of places, isn't it? You know, it's not inner city, it's not Beirut, it's not Gaza, you know, where there's atrocities happening all the time. This is like a suburban neighborhood where nothing ever happens. So, oh, look at this. This is an associate professor. Yun Wang arrived home to find his daughter allegedly murdered on Tuesday night. Daily Mail Australia can reveal he donned a blue forensic suit and was helping police piece together what allegedly happened just hours after a tragic death. I don't know, that seems a bit odd, doesn't it? Anyway, and these are his colleagues, but I suppose if that's his job. There's the scene. So police officers are seen carrying away brown evidence bags from the unit. So classmate Oliver Hayes, who arrived at the home with his mother and other school friends, said Sophie was academically talented. She was one of the smartest kids in our school. Yeah, so he works at at Griffith University in the Chemistry and Forensic Science Department, specialising in renewable energy. He's probably asked them if he can do that, just he'll want to be useful, won't he? 2 male colleagues of Professor Wang turned up at the house on Wednesday with food, but were turned away by an officer who told them the father was not there. And the university is offering support to Professor Wang and his close colleagues. So some more pictures of the scene, people laying flowers. Is this Oliver? He's one of her classmates. Anyway, I'm going to stop sharing that and go on to something else now. Just make sure you're all okay. Hope you're all okay. Hi, Wait Raven. Oh, are you in that area, White Raven? Hi, Pamela. Oh, hi, fun fact. Oh, gosh, your friend goes to that school. It always hits home, doesn't it? Even more when it's somewhere local to you, of course. But yeah, it'll be a terrible shock for the whole community, won't it? I mean, it just will. So, right, let's have a look at a couple of. I want to have a look at a couple of news videos. Hang on. What? Yeah, just want to have a look at a couple of news videos about it. There's always an ad. Don't be worrying about the sound. So she's going back to the Magistrates Court on November the 29th. That's the home.
So my staff that attended as first responders and also the emergency services from the Queensland Ambulance Service have entered a scene that is quite traumatic, and those officers and the paramedics are receiving internal counselling in relation.
Well, you would definitely need counselling after that, wouldn't you, after going on that scene, finding that
to the incident that they were exposed to.
But everyone's offered, the students, the police, everybody needs counselling now. Okay, let's. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to find these news videos that seem to have disappeared.
She was a little girl busy singing in the school choir and playing the violin. But around 24 hours ago, Sophie Wang was found stabbed to death. Her killer, allegedly, her own mother. 10 News First can reveal videos the 46-year-old accused posted online just hours earlier.
A happy girl who played with neighbours and their pets. Sophie Wang made a big impression in her short life.
It's just horrible. Like, it's just a little girl. Like, you know, my God, poor little girl. And we heard a lot of sirens, and then the police, like the whole street was just swamped with police cars and paramedics. And they ran straight into the Paul's house.
Her father arrived home and made the discovery. The 10-year-old's injuries so severe, nothing could be done.
In my 15-year career as a detective, it's one of the most confronting scenes I have seen.
Within hours, 46-year-old Ying Ying Chu was arrested and charged with murdering her daughter.
I couldn't believe it, and I couldn't sleep. We are very, very tight, lovely community, you know, and something like that happens. It's just unbelievable.
It's unfathomable, really. You just can't describe it.
Sophie was a student at Emmanuel College. She was smart and kind. She played violin and sang in the school choir. In the hours before Sophie was discovered, her mother uploaded several videos to TikTok. A rough translation reveals strong religious beliefs and a spiritual journey. The 3 videos are the first posted to Chu's account. They've been passed on to police, who won't elaborate on any alleged motive.
Just always laughing and playing and running up and down the street. And, yeah, you'd see her walk home with a little backpack, and, yeah, to think that she's not around anymore, it's just heartbreaking.
The matter was mentioned in Southport Court, where a police prosecutor applied to suppress the mother's identity.
Oh my God, Southport. So Southport, of course, in the UK, Southport, UK was where the 3 little, all those children were stabbed, the 3 little girls who died. I mean, we mustn't forget that there was actually, I think, about 9 children stabbed. Oh my God, so they were in Southport again, but this time we're in Southport, Australia, rather than Southport in the UK. Gosh, I swear there's something weird going on in the world at the moment.
The application was withdrawn after a challenge from lawyers representing media. First responders, including paramedics and police, are being offered counselling for a little girl who was loved and is now lost. Pippa Sheehan for 10 News First.
And if you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, there is support on the 24-hour hotline, 1-800-RESPECT. That's 1-800-737-732.
Okay, so Southport is not where the stabbing was. Hello, Katie tells us. But it's still coincidence, you know. We've been looking at all the things from Southport. And now that must be where the police station is it, Katie? Anyway, so what I want to look at now is, according to studies, why do mothers kill their children? And apparently there's a few different reasons why a mother might kill her child. Because it's not common, but it's not as uncommon as you think it is. So of course, it's called maternal filicide. Now, I think it's more common the family side, isn't it, where the man tends to kill maybe the wife, or his partner, but the children, you know, wipe out his whole family. That's more common with men. But maternal filicide is defined as child murder by the mother. And of course, this is not infanticide, because that's child murder in the first year of life. So this will be, I mean, it doesn't matter what the name is really. But when a young child is murdered, the most frequent perpetrator is a victim's parent or step-parent. Now, maternal filicide perpetrators have 5 major motives, according to this study. There's altruistic filicide, in which a mother kills her child out of love. She believes death to be in the child's best interest. For example, a suicidal mother may not wish to leave her motherless child to face an intolerable world, or a psychotic mother may think that she's saving her child from a fate worse than death. That sort of sounds a possibility in this case, doesn't it? Do you think, like, is she thinking that the world is a terrible place and her daughter will be better off dead? Or is it going to be a bit like, remember the Doomsday Mum, Laurie Vallow, who her and Chad Daybell, they killed her 2 children, JJ and I can't remember the girl's name, JJ, and oh gosh, that's going to drive me mad not being able to remember her name. So I feel awful that I can't remember her name. But Tammy, not Tammy. Tammy was his mum, so it began with a T anyway. And they killed those children because they thought they were dark spirits. Said, you know, that dark spirits. This is what they said anyway. Really, I think they killed those poor children just to get them out of the way, because they were getting in the way of their great life that they wanted to have together. But yeah, they said that they'd been taken over by zombies, and the zombies had killed the children, but so they were killing the zombies, you know, that sort of crap. But again, on a sort of religious basis, it's amazing. What is it with religion that people can turn it around? You know, religion, or, you know, I'm not a lover of religion per se, but Christianity, you know, the pureness of Christianity, Christ's message. If you believe in it, it's all good. You know, Christ doesn't tell you to kill anybody. You know, it's certainly not a child or your own child. You know, the trouble is with these like scriptures and things, the older testaments and things, they can be twisted to mean anything. And sometimes people who have sort of lost the plot a little bit mentally, you know, they twist things round, don't they? You can see that woman from saying all that about Jesus, and you know, lots of people say nice things about Jesus and believe in Jesus and are Christians, you know, devout Christians who don't go around stabbing people. If you're a proper Christian, that'd be the last thing that you would do. So, but I wonder if in her case, that is it with her. Was she psychotic? Did she feel she was saving her child from a fate worse than death? Or does she feel that her child is evil? You know, like supposedly Laurie and Chad did about JJ and his sister. Then there's an acutely psychotic filicide. A psychotic or delirious mother kills her child without any comprehensible motive. They may follow command hallucinations to kill. That sounds possible, doesn't it? Or even in C, when fatal maltreatment filicide occurs, death is usually not the anticipated outcome. So sometimes, basically what they're saying is sometimes mothers kill the children through neglect. You know, the actual aim is maybe not to kill them, but because they neglect them so much, they die anyway, you know. So that results from cumulative child abuse, neglect, or Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Then in D, unwanted child filicide. A mother thinks of her child as a hindrance. Now, there's been quite a few of those. Who was that? Susan Smith, was it, who killed her child? There's been a few mothers who quite often have killed their children when their children have got in the way of new relationships. You know, if their relationship with the father is broken down and they want to start a new life, really, quite often then mothers have killed their children basically just because of the pain in the ass. And in the most rare, spouse revenge filicide occurs when a mother kills her child specifically to emotionally harm that child's father. And there was an awful case not that long ago that I couldn't even report on, but a mother phoning her estranged partner. You know, she had custody of the child for the weekend or whatever, phoning the guy, saying to him, putting the child on, say goodbye to your son because you never see him again, and then shot herself and the son. Put the child on the phone to the father to say goodbye, and then shot herself and the child. So, you know, it says it's rare, but it happens. And I remember that case. I just couldn't. Sometimes cases come up that I literally cannot report on, normally involving children. You know, just can't do it. I couldn't do that one, but this one, I think the reason why I'm doing this case, even though it is a child, and I don't really like to do cases about children, but it sort of ties in and all the other things that we've been talking about lately, the mental health, this mental health thing. This is definitely going to end up being a mental health issue, isn't it? I can't see any other reason why this mother, by the sound of it, and, you know, with the TikToks, etc. But of course, there's got to be an investigation. Things might come out that we just don't know about. Now, she didn't go on and kill herself, because quite often, of course, in these sort of cases, the parent, mother or father, they then go on and kill themselves, don't they? But, you know, how she hasn't done that. Now, whether she was, sometimes people intend to do that, but when it comes to it, they can't do it. You know, they just can't do it. Though I just think, well, if you can literally take a knife to your daughter's neck and slit her throat, you know, how can you not do anything to yourself? So she's not that crazy, is she? If she can't manage to actually hurt herself, maybe she's not that crazy. Maybe, you know, there's things to come out. Maybe there's more to it than we know about. Of course, it's going to be a big investigation, of course. Hi, Pamela. Yeah, I agree. I don't like police bashing at all. I mean, the police aren't perfect. They do things wrong. Of course they do, because they're human beings. Thing is, if you get a plumber around and they do something wrong, like happened to me a couple of years ago, my toilet's not worked properly since. You know, that you can't just think then all plumbers are twonks. You know, like that plumber is a twonk. And I certainly wouldn't have them again in my house to do anything. And God knows when I'll get this bloody thing, the loo, sorted out. You know, they just made a total cock. They were only supposed to be changing the flush mechanism, made a complete cock up of it, and now it leaks every time you flush the chain. And I suppose one day, if I've got more time, I'm going to have a look at it myself, and I might be able to sort it out myself. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, that's why I don't like people criticising the police too much, because I think the police's job is shit, basically. They have to face scenes like this. They have to go out and face a load of drunks chucking bottles at them and calling them names, and they're not supposed to react. You know, it's hard to be a policeman. And a lot of the people who criticise police, they don't do anything. They don't do anything positive in society. What do? They just moan about everything, but they don't actually do anything, you know. And so police, just in general, they are facing a lot every day. But some police are, of course, shouldn't be police, you know. And I think the police force in all countries, it should be invested in more, and they should have a better quality of police. Because I think the position we're in at the moment, certainly in the UK, is people don't want to be police. So it's hard to get people. It's hard to get quality people to be police because of you know, what a difficult job it is and the reputation they've got. You know, would you really want to be hated by everybody, so you can't even tell them what you do, because you know that would mean you and your family might be a target next time there's a few riots in August or whatever. It's a difficult job. It's a difficult job. But as I say, not all police are perfect. But to get a better quality police force needs to be invested in. And as I say, I always say, if you had a problem tomorrow, you know, with your family was in danger or someone was attacking you, you phone the police. That's who you'd phone. You wouldn't phone these thugs that were out rioting and throwing bottles, or you won't phone Tommy Robinson or Nigel Farage. You phone the police to come and help you. So, you know, at the end of the day, the police deserve support. But, of course, they've got to earn it as well. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword. I think there's a lot of work needs to be done. But I agree with you on that. And some of the things they have to face every day, they're difficult. Exactly, David. Good and bad in everyone, every organisation, every job. And, you know, what can you say? Unfortunately, the actual job itself can attract bad people, because people who want a bit of power, you know, want to sort of go around with a gun or, you know, have that. They are attracted to the police force. So that does that. You know, you probably get the two types of people, don't you, who apply? There'll be people who apply who really want to help, want to make a difference, you know, really believe in keeping communities safe, probably thinking of their own families. And then you'll get some tossers who are applying because they want a gun, or they want, you know, as far as America is concerned, you don't automatically get a gun in the UK. But, you know, so you will get that. I mean, I don't see how you'll always get that, even if they improve the sort of recruitment process and that. You're always going to get a few bad apples are going to slip in there. I don't think you can avoid that. But the only thing you can do is, as soon as anything gets caught out, you know, they have to be gone. And I think that's something that hasn't happened yet, especially in the Met, hasn't it? You know, these WhatsApp groups and policemen, even knowing that other policemen like that Wayne Cousins and the other one, the RAPIST, knowing that they were bad people but not saying anything, because they tend to close ranks, don't they? So that's got to change. But anyway, it just has to be looked at. It'll never be perfect, that's for sure. They'll never be perfect. But in times like this, so you can't help but feel for them. The police that have had to turn up there, and not only there, so many other terrible scenes, like the Southport stabbings in the UK, that police have had to turn up to, have had to deal with, you know, and then go home to their own families, you know, must be so difficult. Right, let's just see if I can find some more. So I'll just see if I can find some more actual news. But really, that basically, that's the story so far, isn't it? That we know that poor Sophie, seems like her mum had some issues, you know, mental health issues, certainly some religious issues. She was TikToking religious things in Chinese, saying that, you know, God, Jesus is the only Trinity, etc. Let's have a look at this. I do like to watch the news clips from the different news. From the different news outlets in America, in Australia.
With a passion for reading. Paramedics found 10-year-old Sophie Wang unresponsive after a Year 5 student with a passion for reading. Paramedics found 10-year-old Sophie Wang unresponsive after her father made the 000 call just after 6 p.m. from their Carrara home on the Gold Coast. She had suffered several wounds, including a cut to her neck, and was pronounced dead.
The scene was incredibly confronting, and our attending members, both QPS and paramedics, will be receiving the necessary support. In my 15-year career as a detective, it's one of the most confronting scenes I have seen.
The child's mother, Ying Shu, was arrested just over 4 hours later on a nearby street, and the 46-year-old was charged with murder.
It's such a sweet little girl too. Never ever heard boo out of her, just always laughing and playing and running up and down the street. And yeah, you'd see her walk home with a little backpack, and yeah, to think that she's not around anymore, it's just heartbreaking.
Her school, Emmanuel College, says she had previously been awarded a medal for reading, and her death was devastating and distressing. Our prayers are with the family, friends, all affected by the loss of this beloved child in her home. Ying Shu wasn't in court when the matter was mentioned. A police prosecutor had applied to have her name and the details of the case suppressed, but that was later withdrawn. Detectives are piecing together what happened in the moments prior to the young girl's death.
Our investigation is ongoing, and we are committed to ensuring that justice is achieved for this 10-year-old victim.
It's a very sad event, and when something like that happens, it takes a little piece out of everybody.
Counselling and pastoral care teams have been brought in to help the school community. Mark Rigby, ABC News, Gold Coast.
Aye, so yeah, very sad. And just watching the rain there. Of course, it's winter, isn't it, in Australia at the moment? Wish it was raining here. They've been promising us rain today, but it's not happened yet. Okay, let's look at one more video, and then we're going to look at something that might make you laugh, just to try and cheer ourselves.
In my 15-year career as a detective, it's one of the most confronting scenes I have seen.
I think we might have seen this.
Police were called to a residence in Carrara on the Gold Coast following a report of a young girl being discovered unresponsive by her father. Despite her father and emergency services' best efforts, the young 10-year-old girl was pronounced deceased by attending paramedics. An investigation was immediately commenced, and as a result, the child's mother has been arrested for her murder. tragic and distressing incident, and our thoughts are with the family and the community during this difficult time.
Okay, so that is basically the story so far. I'll keep you updated of anything else that comes out, of course. You know, as time goes on, you know, that'll be a case now that we'll follow. So bless her. So just wanted to finish on something that might make you laugh, because we'll need something to lighten us up after that. And for those of you who are not from the UK, I'm sure you've still heard of Liz Truss, who was one of our many prime ministers that we had during the horrible last sort of 5 years, when we had one prime minister after another. And Liz Truss was the prime minister who was compared to a lettuce, because she literally became prime minister, wrecked the economy. Her first budget just wrecked the economy instantly, and then I think she lasted 10 days, I'm not sure, as prime minister. I've never ever in a million years understand how she ever got to be prime minister in the first place. I just honestly don't think. I think, talking of mental health issues, I think she might have a few mental health issues, because she's so, even though she was removed after 10 days, she was compared to a lettuce, and it was said that who would last longer, Liz Truss or a lettuce? And in fact, the lettuce lasted longer. So this is a standing joke now. You know, Liz Truss couldn't even last as long as a lettuce. Anyway, so she's now devoting herself to traveling around America. She lost her seat in the last election as well, so she's not even an MP now, and she's traveling around America supporting Donald Trump, which, if I was Donald Trump, he could do with really, you know, asking her not to support him, because that's not going to do him any favors whatsoever. Anyway, she's going around giving speeches, bestowing her knowledge on everybody, even though she was the worst prime minister ever and wrecked the economy within 3 days or whatever. And, you know, most people are still suffering now from the mortgage increases from her budget, etc. Well, so she's in America. So I just wanted to show you this. So she was speaking. She was at a speaking event. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Now, first of all, so she's up on the stage. The first thing I just want to say is she's got a bloody green dress on. She's got green dress on. This is how tone deaf she is. She knows she's been compared to a lettuce. So what does she do? She goes out speaking in a green dress. Hello, you know, everyone still calls her the lettuce prime minister. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll wear a green dress and look even more like a lettuce. She sat here at this speaking event. I don't think there's many people there. When you hear the applause, I don't think there's many people listening. But she does like a Sharon Stone moment, where she's sort of crossing her legs. She's got this dress on with a split right up it. I don't know if she thinks she can distract people from the fact that she's a lettuce by making them think she's more like Sharon Stone or something. But for any of you who are old enough like me to remember the film Basic Instinct with Sharon Stone. So this is what happened.
It's what I was saying a bit about incumbents. I think the average American is not doing well, and people do vote on. I think it was Bill Clinton's advisor who said it's the economy's stupid. So I think that he will probably win.
On that.
I've got a load of Trump questions, by the way.
I've no idea where that's come from.
Oh, there you get your Sharon Stone moment. Has she got any knickers on or not? And then she picks up her stuff, but she's got no fucking sense of humour either. So, you know, she can't take a joke, that's for sure. You know, why didn't she make a joke of it? And I don't know. Say, oh, at least I've got the right colour dress on today. Fancy wearing a green dress when you've been compared to as a lettuce. So this seems to be the latest sort of fad now, isn't it? Because they did it to Nigel Farage, didn't they, when he was speaking? Somebody put down this banner or whatever a few weeks ago. So how they get there, how they do it, how they get up there to put it down, I don't know. But it couldn't happen to a nicer person. This woman is just totally tone deaf. She doesn't realise. She still does not accept that what she did was wrong. You know, at least, you know, own it, Liz. Fancy wearing a green dress when everybody compares you to a lettuce.
And I think it's what I was saying a bit about incumbents. I think the average American is not doing well, and people do vote on. I think it was Bill Clinton's advisor who said it's the economy's stupid. So I think that he will probably win.
On that.
I've got a load of Trump questions, by the way.
I've no idea where that's come from.
But she just walks off the stage, giving us a little flash as she goes.
And I think
absolute fool she is. There you go. Your Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen. Your ex-Prime Minister.
And
the waste of space. Anyway, made me laugh, cheered me up watching that. Hey, Michelle. Yeah. Well, maybe she didn't have any drawers on, David. Do you remember Basic Instincts? Sharon Stone, it was all a big fuss. Did she have any knickers on or not? I went to see that with my partner at the time, you know, but this supposedly sexy film. He fell asleep halfway through and he was snoring in the cinema. So that's how exciting it was, really. But yeah, there was a big fuss about it at the time. And there's Liz there in her green lettuce dress doing a Sharon Stone. And she's just got no sense of humour, that woman. You know what, mate? She's not Prime Minister anymore. She's not even an MP. She's doing speaking. She's going around doing these guest speaking. She should make it fun, you know. But she's not quick enough, you know. So if you had a bit more of a bit about you could make a bit of a joke of the lettuce, you know. But instead, she just like gets the ump and walks off the stage. Lettuce. Oh dear me. We'll see anyway. So that's it. So I'll see you tonight. Tonight I'm going to be talking about what's happening with Sebastian Rogers. You know, poor Sebastian is still missing. What the latest is, you know, with Seth, etc. Apart from there's so much gossip on YouTube. God, those YouTubers are horrible. You know, all gossiping and attacking each other and everything. I hate that. Why can't people just, you know, leave people to get on with whatever they're doing? Anyway, there's a lot of gossip and that. I'm not going into the gossip, but I will be looking at what you know, Seth's done an interview what Chris and Katie have done, you know, actually taken out an injunction against the YouTuber. And I don't blame them, to be honest, because at the end of the day, whether Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot had anything to do with it or not, they've not been charged with anything. So you can't just go around throwing accusations around. So we will be talking about that. But if I have any updates about poor Sophie, you know, I will come on to talk about that on another time. But so basically, this poor little girl, her own mother, she's been killed by her own mother in her own home. It's just awful, isn't it? So we're going to keep up with this. We have to try and, you know, we have to keep up this conversation about mental health, because it's killing people. It's sometimes it can kill people. People, you know, delete themselves because of mental health. But even worse, what seems to be happening, people are going out and killing other people because of mental health as well. So nobody's safe from mental health issues. Nobody. Can happen to anybody. Doesn't matter what you try and do. You know, you just don't know when you or your loved one is gonna, it can happen later on in life. We just had a famous cricketer. I don't know, you know, I don't know anything about cricket, so I didn't know him, bless him. But 55-year-old ex-England cricketer just thrown himself in front of a train through mental, you know, depression and mental health issues. So he chose to delete himself. But you know what? In those cases, he could just as easily have deleted his whole family. So, you know, mental health is key, and what can be done about it? So we've got to keep this conversation up about mental health, I think, because I think it's just killing people. So apart from causing misery. So even if, you know, there'll be people that are miserable, either themselves because they've got mental health issues, or families dealing with their loved ones who's got mental health issues. That is practically impossible. Living with it yourself as you've got it is bad enough, but also being a family member trying to support someone when they don't even want your support half the time. Because when you're dealing with someone who's got mental health issues, they don't want your help. They think they're fine, you know, and that they might be nasty to you even trying to help them. They won't let you take them to the doctor. They won't let you make them take their medication. They think you're against them. They're paranoid. They think you're, you know, somehow trying to do something to them. So it's not, you know, it's very difficult living with it as with the person who has it, just as difficult as living with it yourself, I think. So we're going to keep up that conversation, because hopefully maybe somebody can take some comfort, or I don't know, you never know when you might be affecting somebody in a good way, at least even making you feel like people understand what you're going through, because it's a lonely place. Whether you've got mental health issues, it's a lonely place. But if your family, you're dealing with someone, a loved one who's got mental health issues, that's a very lonely place too, because sometimes there's just nobody you feel you can turn to. So anyway, I'm going to finish with this picture. I'm going to put this picture up big. I'll see you later on tonight. Take care, because you all mean so much to me. So make sure you take care of yourself. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like. And until I see you again, may your God go with you. Bye.